Tuesday, 2nd of June, the year 2026. The Consolidated Fund Services basically refers to government expenditure that are charged directly to the Consolidated Fund and must be paid by law. These are expenditures that do not go through the normal annual parliamentary voting processes because they are considered mandatory obligations of the government. The Consolidated Fund itself is the national government's main account that is established under Article 206 of the Constitution, into which most national revenue is paid. So we shall take a look at the Consolidated Fund, what it entails, and the debt that the Public Debt Committee has indicated in its observation. However, we can see the Speaker of the National Assembly, Honorable Dr. Moses Masika Wetangula, has already made his way into the chamber to preside over this afternoon sitting. Allow me to hand you over to this live broadcast that is brought to you by the Parliamentary Broadcasting Unit in partnership with KBC. Good afternoon.
Mheshimiwa, tuombe. Ewe Mwenyezi Mungu ambaye kwa hekima na neema yako umeteua nyadhifa za viongozi na mabunge kwa ustawi wa jamii na utawala wa haki wa wanadamu, tukusihi utazame kwa neema nyingi sisi watumishi wako ambao wameridhika kutuita ili tutekeleze shughuli muhimu za jamhuri yetu. Tunakuomba uteremshie baraka zako sisi tuliokutanika hapa na utujalie tuyatende na kufikiria mambo yote tutakayofikishwa mbele yetu kwa njia ya haki na uaminifu, ili utukufu na sifa zako siendelezwe na ili kustawisha amani, ufanisi na heri ya nchi yetu na wale ambao hajasawa msikabidhi mikononi mwetu. Amen. Sergeant, ring the quorum bell.
The prayer has been said and the chair taken. However, there is a quorum hitch, and the Speaker has directed that the quorum bell be rung for 10 minutes, of course, to give room for more members of the National Assembly to be able to make their way into the House. And this is, of course, as provided for in the House Standing Orders, Order number 34. So as we wait for the House to correct, we shall continue to take a look at the business that the members shall be transacting this afternoon. And as I had indicated earlier, is that this afternoon they will be considering the report of the Public Debt and Privatization Committee on the expenditures of the Consolidated Fund Services under the budget estimates for the financial year 2026-2027. Remember, the budget cycle for this year is, for the next financial year rather, is almost coming to a close with the pronouncements of the budget highlights for the financial year 2026-2027 are set to be made this Thursday, that is the 11th of June. So as provided for in the House Standing Orders, the Budget and Appropriations, the Public Debt and Privatization Committee also has to make its report to the National Assembly to be able to indicate or to explain to the House how the estimates relating to the Consolidated Fund Services expenditures that regard the country's public debt. And in the committee's observation from this report is that the public debt currently The public debt service expenditures are projected at 2.31 trillion for the next financial year, that is 2026-2027, accounting for 90% of the total consolidated fund services expenditures. However, this reflects a marginal decline from the 2.35 trillion for this current financial year, that is the 2025-2026. In the consolidated fund, the items or the core areas that fall within the consolidated fund services include the repayment of the public debt, the payment of the pensions and gratuities. Of course, this is for the retired public servants. And of course, salaries and benefits of certain constitutional office holders. This include the president, the judges, the military. All these fall under the consolidated fund services. These are expenditures, government expenditures that are charged directly, and also some statutory contributions and subscriptions to international organizations that the country belongs to. So this is basically what the consolidated fund services entails. And in its report, the budget and public debt trillion for the next financial year, this being a decline from this current financial year, that is 2.35 trillion in this current year, that is the 2025-2026. In its observation, also, the committee indicates that the projected debt service obligations comprise of domestic debt services amounting to 1.64 trillion, this being 71%, and external debt services amounting to 680.38 billion, this being 29%. This composition indicates that domestic debt obligations remain the primary driver of debt service expenditures and consequently overall CFS expenditures. The trend is expected to persist over the medium term, largely due to the increasing reliance on domestic borrowing to finance fiscal deficits. Also, in its observation, the committee has indicated that the public debt stock, which amounted to 12.8 trillion as at February 2026, is projected to reach 14.12 trillion by June 2027, being equivalent to a net present value of public debt to GDP ratio of 65%, which remains above the statutory debt anchor that is at 55% with a 5% margin. So this means that it leaves only a year to meet the October 2028 target. If you're just joining us, the House is about to commence. We can see more members making their way into the House. The Sergeant at Arms are also keeping tabs with the numbers. And once that quorum is raised, then that business shall, without any further delay, commence. So considerations of the expenditures of the consolidated fund services under the budget estimates for the next financial year 2026-2027 are coming up for consideration. It is a report by the Public Debt and Privatization Committee coming up for consideration. And of course, we also expect the resumption of debate on the Kenya Judiciary Academy Bill, a bill originating from the National Assembly, sponsored by the committee, the Departmental Committee on Justice and Legal Affairs. This is a bill that is at it. Okay, there is quorum. Allow me to hand you over.
Start. Okay. Start.
Order number 1, administration of oath. Order number 2, communication from the chair.
Members on their feet, take your seats. Honorable members of a communication on appointment of senators to mediation committees on two bills. Honorable members, you recall that on 15th and 22nd April 2026, respectively, I notified the House of the referral of the Public Service Values and Principles Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 46 of 2022, and the Cooperatives Bill, National Assembly Bill number 7 of 2024, to mediation committees. You may further recall that I also informed the House of the appointment of members to represent the National Assembly in the mediation committees on the two bills, and guided that they await the appointment of senators for the respective committees to be fully constituted. I have since received correspondence from the Senate notifying that the Speaker of the Senate has appointed senators to the mediation committees to consider the bills as follows: Mediation Committee on the Public Service, Values and Principles Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 46 of 2022, Senator Julius Murgo Recha, CBS MP, Senator Mohamed Faki Mwinyihaji, CBS MP, Senator Lenku Olekanar Seki, MP, Senator Miraj Abdullahi Abdurrahman, MP, and Senator Professor Tom Ojenda Odhiambo, Senior Counsel, MP. Mediation Committee on the Cooperatives Bill, National Assembly Bill number 7 of 2024, Senator Jackson Kiplagat Mandago, EGH MP, Senator James Kamau Morango, MP, Senator Esi Okenyuri Nyaituga Anyeni, MP, Senator Miraj Abdullahi Abdurrahman, MP, and Senator Abbas Sheikh Mohammed, MP. Fellow members, with the appointment of senators, the mediation committees on the two bills are now fully constituted in terms of Article 113 of the Constitution, and in this regard, I call upon the appointed members of this House to reach out to their Senate counterparts with a view to expeditiously commencing the mediation process on the respective bills. The House is accordingly guided. Honorable members, my second communication is in regard to the event of Thursday this week, public pronouncement on the budget highlights and revenue-raising measures for the financial year 2026-27. Honorable members, as you may be aware, members at the bar, take the nearest seats. Honorable members, as you may be aware, the Cabinet Secretary for the National Treasury and Economic Planning is required pursuant to Article 221 of the Constitution, Section 40 of the Public Finance Management Act and 2012 and the Standing Order 244C to make a public pronouncement of the budget highlights and revenue-raising measures for the national government every financial year. In this regard, honorable members, I wish to inform the House that the Cabinet Secretary for the National Treasury and Economic Planning is scheduled to make a public pronouncement of the budget highlights and revenue-raising measures for the financial year 2026-27 on Thursday, 11th June 2026 at 3 p.m. in the main chamber of the National Assembly. Honorable members, this pronouncement marks a significant milestone in the national budget-making process. Additionally, as has been the practice within the East African community, the pronouncement will be undertaken concurrently with similar budget pronouncements in the partner states, underscoring the continued commitment to regional economic cooperation and harmonization of fiscal policies. Honorable members, this is an important parliamentary event that is expected to attract various dignitaries, development partners, members of the diplomatic corps, and other invited guests. I therefore urge all members to prioritize attendance and be present in the chamber for the occasion. Following the pronouncement, a reception hosted by the National Treasury and Economic Planning will be held at the Parliament courtyard immediately after the event. Consequently, honorable members, the parking spaces at the Parliamentary courtyard shall not be available for use on Thursday, 11th June 2026. Honorable members will be dropped off at the main entrance, after which drivers will be directed by parliamentary security officers and the sergeant-at-arms to designated alternative parking areas within Parliament Square. In this regard, honorable members are requested to ensure that all vehicles parked within the parliamentary courtyard are removed by 3 p.m. on Wednesday, 10th June 2026 to allow for the requisite preparations and security arrangements. The House is accordingly informed. Members at the bar, take the nearest seats. Osoro, where is your nearest seat? Wamboka, where is your nearest seat? Honorable members, allow me to recognize a delegation from the Parliament of the Republic of Uganda. Honorable members, I wish to introduce to you a delegation of 5 officers from the Parliament of the Republic of Uganda who are seated in the Speaker's Gallery. The delegation, drawn from the Uganda Department of Information and Communications Technology, ICT, is undertaking a training with their counterpart department of the National Assembly to enhance knowledge sharing, foster innovation, and strengthen operational efficiency in the management and delivery of ICT services. On my behalf and on behalf of the House, I welcome them to Parliament and wish them fruitful engagement. The second team, honorable members, is a recognition of a delegation from the National Assembly of Zambia. Honorable members, I wish to introduce to you a delegation of 10 officers from the National Assembly of Zambia who are seated in the Speaker's Gallery. The delegation led by Mr. Sage Samuika, the acting deputy clerk in charge of administration, is on a visit to the National Assembly to learn best practices and exchange knowledge in the area of strategy, risk management and modernization, procurement, parliamentary broadcasting, research, parliamentary training, human capital and administration, and public and international relations. On my behalf, and on behalf of the Assembly, I welcome them to Parliament and wish them fruitful engagements. Equally honorable members, in the Speaker's Gallery, we have Chebonei Girls High School from Bomet, Central Bomet. And in the Speaker's Gallery, we have, in the Public Gallery, we have Kanjinji Secondary School from Mwea East, Kirinyaga. Anesenes High School from Ainabukoi, Wasingishu, and Anderson High School from Endabes, Trans Nzoia. Again, on my behalf and on behalf of the House, we welcome all the students, their teachers, and those accompanying them to the House of Parliament. I've been requested by Mary Maingi, Honorable Mary Maingi, to welcome Kanjinji Secondary School. But on behalf of the House, you can welcome all the students in the galleries. Mary Maingi. Give her the mic. There you are.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to welcome the students of Kajiji Secondary to this honorable house. And I also wish to welcome all the other students and their teachers to this honorable house. I would want to wish the students to work hard, focus on their education, work very hard on their studies, and remain disciplined and remain morally upright to become future leaders. I hope at the end of the day they will learn something from these parliament proceedings and that they'll return one day to this house as honorable members of parliament. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Chepkonga, Ainabkoi.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I wish to welcome the students from Anderson's Boys High School. Mr. Speaker, this is one of the biggest and largest boys' secondary school in Ainabkoi constituency, and particularly also in Wazingishu. Mr. Speaker, they are here on a learning tour. They want to see what happens in Parliament, and Mr. Speaker, I want to welcome them to learn from here. And this is a clarion call to them to what the late former president of South Africa said. He said that education is the most powerful weapon you can use to change your world. They are coming here together with all other students from Jebolet and the rest. I hope whatever they will learn here, it will change their world. I want to thank them for coming, and we wish them the best.
Order number 3, messages. Order number 4, petitions.
Order member for Trans Nzoia, take your seat. Honorable Mishi, take your seat quickly. Honorable members, I have 2 petitions to present to the House. The first petition is regarding unpaid salary arrears and terminal dues by the former employees of Uchumi Supermarkets PLC. Honorable members, Article 119 of the Constitution accords every person the right to petition Parliament to consider any matter within its authority. Further, Standing Order 2252B requires the Speaker to report to the House any petition other than those presented by a member. Honorable members, in this regard, I wish to report to the House that my office has received a petition from Philomena Oburenyi and Alois Mukoma, chairperson and secretary, respectively, of the former Uchumi Staff Welfare Association, regarding the inordinate delay in the payment and settlement of salary arrears and terminal dues owed to former employees. The petitioners aver that despite numerous engagements with appointed administrators, the courts, and the processes established under the company voluntary arrangement, their claims for unpaid salary arrears, gratuity, and other terminal benefits remain unresolved. The petitioners further state that the commitments made under the company voluntary arrangement to settle staff claims have not been honored despite repeated reminders and demonstrations by former employees. Additionally, the petitioners allege that lease proceeds from tenants occupying the company's premises, including payments reportedly made by China Square, have been diverted to other projects instead of being applied towards the settlement of staff claims. Honorable members, the petitioners also cite a lack of transparency and accountability in decisions affecting staff welfare. They contend that certain directives issued during the last annual general meeting by the CVA monitor have not been implemented and that affected employees have not been adequately consulted. The petition further highlights the difficult circumstances faced by many former employees, some of whom are unable to provide for their families, meet medical expenses, or support their children's education. It is also reported that some former staff have passed on before receiving their rightful dues. Honorable members, in light of the foregoing, the petitioners seek the intervention of the National Assembly to ensure transparency in the management of lease proceeds and other company assets, and to facilitate the establishment of a clear timeline and mechanism for the resolution of all pending CVA obligations relating to former staff claims. Honorable members, having established that the matters raised in the petition fall within the authority of this House and that they are not pending before any court of law or constitutional body, I hereby commit the petition to the Public Petitions Committee for consideration pursuant to the standing orders. The committee is required to consider the petition and report its findings to the House and the petitioners in accordance with Standing Order 2272. The second petition, honorable members, is regarding strengthening oversight, transparency, and intergenerational equity in public debt governance. Honorable members, Article 119 of the Constitution accords every person the right to petition Parliament to consider any matter within its authority. Further, Standing Order 2252B requires the Speaker to report to the House any petition other than those presented by a member. In this regard, honorable members, I wish to report to the House that my office has received a petition from Ms. Beatrice N. Waiyaki and others representing the Kiambu County Empowerment Network and the Bunge Mashinani Initiative. The petitioners are calling for the enhancement of oversight, transparency, and the integration of intergenerational equity in the governance of public debt. The petitioners contend that the public debt has emerged as a critical governance challenge with profound implications for Kenya's physical sustainability, the delivery of essential services, and the economic prospects of future generations. They express grave concern over the escalating debt burden and the attendant risks to the country's long-term development trajectory. Honorable members, the petitioners underscore the necessity of robust parliamentary scrutiny over the contracting, management, and reporting of public debt. They aver that such oversight is vital to ensure that borrowing remains prudent, transparent, and strictly aligned with the national strategic priorities, thereby safeguarding public resources. The petitioners further observe that the absence of a comprehensive and periodically updated public debt registry impedes effective scrutiny by both the public and relevant parliamentary committees. They argue that a centralized public accessible registry detailing domestic and external debt borrowing terms, creditors, and repayment schedules is indispensable for debt sustainability analysis. Honorable members, the petitioners also highlight a deficiency in structured mechanisms for intergenerational dialogue. They note that discourse on fiscal policy remains largely confined to technical and national forums, effectively excluding local communities and the youth who will bear the long-term cost of today's borrowing from the decision-making process. In light of the following, the petitioners seek the intervention of the National Assembly to 1, strengthen the institutional framework for the oversight of public debt management, 2, enhance transparency through the legislative establishment of a comprehensive and mandatory public debt registry, 3, institutionalize the utilization of independent expert analysis during debt-related deliberations in the House, and 4, promote structured engagement between Parliament, civil society, and the citizenry to ensure intergenerational equity is a primary consideration in public debt policy. Having established, honorable members, that the matter raised in the petition falls squarely within the mandate of this House, and being satisfied that the issues are not sub judice or pending before any other constitutional or legal body, I hereby commit this petition to the Public Petitions Committee for consideration and pursuant to the standing orders. This committee is required to consider the petition and report its findings to the House and to the petitioner in accordance with Standing Order 2272. I thank you. Next.
Order number 5, papers.
Majority Leader.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the House today, Tuesday, 9th June 2026. Number 1, the following draft regulations from the Ministry of Public Service, Human Capital Development and Special Programs. 1, the Gambling Control Licensing Regulations 2026. 2, the Gambling Control Conduct of Gambling Operations Regulations 2026. 3, the Gambling Control Advertising Regulations 2026. 4, the Gambling Control Foreign-Based Operators Regulations 2026. 5, the Gambling Control Gambling Appeals Tribunal Regulations 2026. And 6, the Gambling Control National Lottery Regulations 2026. Number 2, legal notice number 73 of 2026 relating to the Public Finance Management Prisons Enterprise Fund Regulations 2026 and Regulatory Impact Statement RIS report on public participation, comments and memorandum on the Public Finance Management Prisons Enterprise Fund Regulations and the explanatory memorandum from the National Treasury. 3, reports of the Auditor General and financial statement for the years ended 30th June 2021, 30th June 2022, 30th June 2023, 30th June 2024, and 30th June 2025, and the certificates therein in respect of the following schools. Number 1, Arimiet Mixed Secondary School. 2, Chani Secondary School. 3, Gachagua'S Mixed Day Secondary School. 4, Kijire Girls Secondary School. 5, Karongoi Girls High School. 6, Namuela Secondary School. And 7, Timbila Boys Secondary School. Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and I lay.
Thank you. Chairperson, Mediation Committee, Honorable Samuel Atandi. Not ready yet. We'll stay that. Chairperson, Committee on Powers and Privileges, Honorable Samuel Chepkonga.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the House today, Tuesday, 9th June 2026. Report of the Committee of Powers and Privileges on the inquiry into allegations against the member for Pumula and chairperson of the Public Investments Committee on Governance and Education, the Honorable Jack Wanambi Wamboka, CPS MP. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Next.
Order number 6, notices of motion.
Chairperson, Mediation Committee, Samuel Atandi, CBS MP. Not ready. I think this, anytime it comes in, we'll accommodate him to lay the document on the table and to give notice. Chairperson, Committee on Powers and Privileges, Samuel Chepkonga, CBS MP.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to give notice of the following motion. That this House adopts the report of the Committee of Powers and Privileges on the inquiry into allegations against the member for Bumula and the chairperson of Public Investments Committee on Governance and Education, the Honorable Jack Wanami Wamboka, CPS, MP, laid on the table of the House on Tuesday, 9th June 2026. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Order number 7, questions and statements.
Omulher Harun, nominated member.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 44-2C, I rise to request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Administration and Internal Security regarding insecurity incidences in Kambisamaki, Lagdera constituency in Garissa. Honorable Speaker, Kambisamaki town has, over the past few years, experienced recurrent boundary disputes among communities within Garissa and Isiolo counties. These disputes have often escalated into violent confrontations, resulting in loss of lives, theft of livestock, and destruction of property. The insecurity has also adversely affected the education sector, as non-local teachers who form a significant portion of the teaching workforce face threats to their safety, leading to frequent evacuation. This has resulted in acute teacher shortages, thereby severely disrupting learning and disadvantaging learners in the affected schools in the enjoyment of their right to education. The situation in Kambisamaki calls for urgent intervention to restore security, safeguard lives and property, and ensure a conducive environment of learning. Honorable Speaker, it's against this background that I request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Administration and Internal Security on the following: measures taken by the Ministry of Interior and National Administration to urgently enhance security, protect residents, and restore normalcy to school operations in Kambisamaki. Steps being taken to resolve the boundary disputes between Garissa and Isiolo counties, including any interventions made in collaboration with relevant government agencies and the county governments, and the strategies being implemented to ensure that teachers, students, and schools are provided security so as to guarantee a conducive environment for uninterrupted learning. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Harun. Yes, Russell, when can you bring a response to that? Give Honorable Russell the mic.
Mr. Speaker, we'll respond in 2 weeks.
2 weeks. That's all right. Lillian Sioi, member for Trans Nzoia.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I wanted to welcome the students from Trans Nzoia, but they have already left. So I don't know if I can just go on with my statement. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I raise to request for a statement regarding the death of Mr. Brian Simiyu in Trans Nzoia County. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provision of Standing Order 44-2C, I rise to request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Health regarding the death of Brian Simiyu in Trans Nzoia County. Honorable Speaker, on 17th May 2026, Mr. Brian Simiyu, a resident of Trans Nzoia County, reportedly lost his life following a surgical procedure allegedly conducted at Samor Chemist, situated opposite Dr. Michuki's Plaza building in Trans Nzoia County. It is further alleged that the medical practitioner involved in the incident, one Dr. Alex Baraza, was unfit to practice, with reports indicating that he had been in and out of rehabilitation programs for substance abuse. The procedure is said to have been conducted in an unsafe place and unprofessional environment, with reports alleging that the patient's hands were tied to a window in a manner that violated his dignity. This incident has raised grave concerns regarding... Mr. Speaker, protect me from these guys.
Order. Members gravitating around the majority leader, take your seats.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This incident has raised grave concerns regarding professional negligence, patient safety, and the continued operation of apparently unlicensed medical facilities. Honorable Speaker, the circumstances surrounding the death of Mr. Simiyu raise serious questions regarding the regulations, inspection, and licensing of health facilities, as well as the enforcement of the professional standards among medical practitioners. The incident further points to possible gaps in the monitoring of private chemists and protection of members of the public from unsafe and unlawful medical practices. Honorable Speaker, it is against this background that I request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Health on the following. 1, the circumstances that led to the death of Mr. Brian Simiyu following a botched surgery conducted at Samor Chemist in Trans Nzoia County. 2, the registration and professional status of the medical practitioner involved, including whether any complaints, disciplinary proceedings, or concerns had been previously raised against him. Number 3, the steps being taken to strengthen inspection, supervision, and enforcement mechanism for private health facilities and chemists. And lastly, measures being taken to ensure that the family of the late Brian Simiyu receives justice and that those found culpable are held accountable. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Nyikal, did you hear what I heard?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think the statement requested for is actually of a very serious nature.
Is of grave nature.
Grave nature. 1, it was performed in a chemist. 2, by somebody who apparently is known to be mentally unwell. And therefore, I think we'll strive to get as much information as possible, but we'll still try within 2 weeks. But it looks like it may be a much broader
Bring
issue
a
than
preliminary report next week on Thursday.
Thank you.
And also, that statement also discloses matters of a criminal nature. You may also get involved and inform the agencies in charge of criminal investigations to take it up. Thank you. Responses to statements. A response to a statement requested by Honorable Member for Bumula. Raso, are you ready?
Yes, Honorable Speaker.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, the member for Bumula constituency, Honorable Wanami Wamboka, requested to be apprised on the rising insecurity incidences within his constituency. The honorable member particularly sought to be informed the status of investigation into the murder of Mr. Isaac Wanjala, the immediate measures being undertaken to enhance security in Bumula, the long-term strategies being implemented to restore security, strengthen community policing initiative, and enhance collaboration. Honorable Speaker, the status of investigation. On 14th April 2026, at about 0600 hours, Mr. Jared Nyikuli, the director of Dareli Paradise Resort, located within Kabula area, reported at Bumula Police Station, via OB number 07 14th April 2026, that a robbery with violence incident occurred during the night of 14th April 2026 at the premises. Police officers responded promptly. Preliminary investigation established that the deceased, Isaac Wabwire, aged 38 years, was a security guard and was on duty with his other colleagues. Bernard was Waswa Maramba, aged 52 years, who reportedly escaped unhurt during the incident. Subsequently, the post-mortem was conducted on 24 April 2026 on Mr. Isaac Wabwire by the government pathologist, who opined the cause of death to be cardiopulmonary arrest, secondary to intracranial hemorrhage, resulting to traumatic head injury caused by blunt object. The police revisited the scene to gather further information regarding the robbery with violence incident, where they established that the assailant had gained access into the compound by cutting the perimeter fence behind the lounge area before entering into the bar section. Honorable Speaker, upon questioning, Bernard gave a conflicting statement, prompting the investigators to profile him as a person of interest. He was subsequently arrested and arraigned in court on 15th April 2026 for the offense of failing to prevent a felony contrary to Section 392 of the Penal Code. Honorable Speaker, the immediate measures being undertaken to enhance security in Bumula constituency. The National Police Service remains committed to safeguarding lives and property and maintaining law and order, and has undertaken the following immediate measures to enhance security and public safety in the constituency by doing the following: intensified foot and motorcycle patrols across Kabula Ward and the wider Bumula constituency, deployment of undercover officers alongside intelligence-led policing, including profiling of known offenders, monitoring emerging criminal networks. 3, conduct of targeted security operation to dismantle criminal gangs in identified areas. 4, strengthening of public reporting and community engagement mechanisms through toll-free reporting channel, such as Fichua kwa DCI number 0800 722 203. 5, enhance collaboration with local leaders, community stakeholders, and the national government administration. Honorable Speaker, the long-term strategies being implemented. 1, owing to the distance to the nearest police station, rising security demands, and limited mobility due to lack of sufficient motor vehicles, the operationalization of Kabula Police Station is being prioritized through deployment of personnel, provision of logistic support, and allocation of essential resources. 2, sensitization of business owners and operators on the installation of closed-circuit television, CCTV, surveillance system within business premises and strategic location. 4, capacity building of investigators through specialized training in forensic investigation, including crime scene management, evidence preservation, forensic photography, fingerprint and trace evidence, among others. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Signed by the Honorable Kipchumba Murkomen, EGH Cabinet Secretary for Interior and National Administration. I beg to submit, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Wamboka.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Even as we talk about this, the family of the late Wanjala has not received justice because so far as we speak, no culprit has been arrested and they remain being at large. We urge the security agencies to speed up investigations so that at least the family can put closure into this. Honorable Speaker, the insecurity in Bumula and in Bungoma generally continues to escalate, where recently we saw the unfortunate murder of Mr. Pascal Wakafura, and who was a medical person from Bungoma County working for the county, and James Osambo from the Bungoma stage, a young man who was picked from the stage at his place of work, and then he was shot dead a few kilometers from there. So these incidents show that we are still experiencing incidents of insecurity, and we urge the government to move with speed. While there has been some transfer of police officers in Kabula stations and Mianga, and for this, I want to say that at least when I reached out to the Inspector General of Police, Honorable Speaker, action was taken. But there is need to enhance capacity among the officers in these stations and all urban areas in Bungoma County. Honorable Speaker, recently we saw Honorable Murkomen undertake the Jukwaa la Usalama initiatives across the country. We want to urge that they should implement resolutions passed by stakeholders in this, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, we had proposed in this House that we want it to be a policy that those officers who are overstayed in one station, Honorable Speaker, should be transferred because they get familiar with the community, and instead of focusing on key areas of insecurity, Honorable Speaker. They just start, they want to chase around residents in Chang'a and Busa dens, something which, Honorable Speaker, the government must ensure that, they see to it that is done. As we use NGCDF funds to put our police stations, we urge the ministry to ensure security officers are dispatched not only to harass our people, especially these political sessions that is coming in, Honorable Speaker, but to provide security and the provision of security, Honorable Speaker. They must be non-committal, non-partisan to any part of the political divide, so that at the end of the day, Honorable Speaker, we have security across Bumula and across our constituencies. Thank you.
Thank you. I think, Russell, those are just positive comments. If you can take that into account, it will help the situation. Eric Wamumbi. Yes, Russell, are you ready to respond to Wamumbi's request?
Yes, Honorable Speaker.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, the Member of Parliament for Madira constituency, Honorable Wamumbi, requested to be apprised of the alleged circulation of harmful, adulterated alcoholic drinks in the country. He stated that there is a growing concern that some alcoholic brands by Patiala Distillers Limited, Blue Ice Vodka, Blue Ice Coconut, Best Classic Gin, Best Gold Classic Brandy, Best Gold Liquor, Diamond Ice Liquor, Dark Strong Beer, and Strong Ale Beer may be adulterated. The Honorable Member particularly sought a report on the licensing status of the aforementioned alcoholic brands. 2, a report on investigation, even by the Anti-Counterfeit Authority, KEPS and other relevant agencies. 3, enforcement, surveillance, and consumer protection measures. Honorable Speaker, a report on the licensing status of the aforementioned alcoholic brands and details of any tests conducted by the government chemist. Honorable Speaker, vide Gazette Notice number 9775 of 3rd November 2020, the government placed the role of licensing of manufacturers of alcoholic drinks in the hands of National Alcoholic Control Committee. This is a multi-agency committee chaired by the PS in Internal Security, and membership cuts across government agencies, among them Kenya Bureau of Standards, KRA, Ministry of Trade, particularly in the area of weights and measures, and the Ministry of Health. Key among them is that the product must meet safety and human consumption status before being certified by KEPS. The test undertaken assesses various parameters, including methanol content, ethanol concentration, presence of contaminants, toxic substances, and other harmful impurities in accordance with the established quality standards. Honorable Speaker, Patiala Distillers Kenya Limited requested for licensing in April 2022, having relocated their plant to Mlolongo. Several compliance checks were carried out, and the facility, having met all the requirements, was initially issued with a clearance letter to produce the aforementioned brands in April 2023. Following suspension of all alcohol manufacturing license issued in March 2024, the facility closed down, but upon inspection, it met the necessary requirement and was given clearance on 3rd June 2025. A report on investigation, even by the Anti-Counterfeit Authority. Honorable Speaker, the Anti-Counterfeit Authority, the Kenya Bureau of Standards, and other relevant enforcement and regulatory agencies have undertaken investigation and market surveillance operation to establish the authenticity, validity, and compliance status of the said alcoholic drinks. Further, the agencies have continued to conduct inspections, product sampling, verification of standardization marks, and nationwide audit of alcoholic beverages available in the market. Honorable Speaker, the enforcement, surveillance, and consumer protection measures that have been undertaken. Honorable Speaker, the government has enhanced enforcement, surveillance, and consumer protection measures against manufacturers, distributors, and retailers found dealing in adulterated, counterfeit, or substandard alcoholic drinks. 1, rigorous multi-agency inspection for clearance of alcoholic manufacturers, multi-agency intelligence raid operation, seizure and destruction of non-compliant products, closure of illegal manufacturing and distribution premises. 4, prosecution of offenders and product recalls where necessary. And 5, continuous market surveillance and public sensitization. The measures taken by the manufacturer to protect their products. Honorable Speaker, the manufacturers have put in place various measures aimed at protecting their products from counterfeiting and enhancing consumer confidence. These measures include the use of tamper-proof seals, enhanced packaging security features, product traceability system, authentication and verification mechanisms, and consumer awareness campaign on identification of genuine products. Honorable Speaker, manufacturers have also continued to collaborate with regulatory and enforcement agencies in reporting suspected counterfeit activities and sensitizing consumers on the dangers associated with counterfeit and substandard alcoholic beverages. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Signed by Honorable Kipchumba Murkomen, EGH, Cabinet Secretary for Interior and National Administration. Honorable Speaker, I beg to submit.
Mheshimiwa Wamumbi, you satisfied with that?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I am contented with the response. I would only like to request the Minister to share this response with the GAO officers, starting with the regional commissioners, to make sure that manufacturers who are manufacturing products that are safe for human consumption are protected, and to heavily deal with the counterfeiters, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Member for Westlands, Tim Wanyonyi. You've given the mic behind him. Give him the correct mic.
Honorable Speaker, pursuant to provisions of Standing Order 43, I rise to make a general statement regarding the advancement of disability inclusion, accessibility, and promotion of the rights of and representation of persons with disabilities in our parliamentary institutions and governance systems. Honorable Speaker, I recently participated in the Commonwealth Parliamentarians with Disabilities CBWD Forum in Cape Town, South Africa, from 26th to 28th May 2026. The forum, which was convened under the theme Legislating for the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, brought together parliamentarians with disabilities from across the Commonwealth to exchange experiences, share best practices, and explore practices, approaches, and strengthening accessibility and representation and inclusion with parliamentary systems. The forum decried the low representation of persons with disabilities in elective and appointive positions and underscored the importance of disability inclusion in all spheres of development. It also noted that despite progress achieved in many jurisdictions, significant barriers still limit the participation of persons with disabilities in legislative and decision-making processes. The hindrances include inaccessible infrastructure, inadequate support systems, negative societal attitudes, and limited opportunities for political engagement. Honorable Speaker, to accelerate accessibility inclusion, the forum called on Commonwealth parliaments to deliberately ensure full and effective participation of persons with disabilities in political and public life. It further emphasized the need for political parties and other stakeholders to create pathways that encourage and support persons with disabilities to seek public office, while safeguarding and expanding gains made in representation. Additionally, the forums underscored the need for regular access audits of parliamentary institutions and the collection of reliable data to inform policy interventions and aimed at enhancing inclusion. The forum also stated the importance of strong partnerships between parliaments, organizations of persons with disabilities, civil society, and development partners so as to ensure that policies and legislation affecting persons with disabilities are informed by lived experiences and the government commitments on disability inclusion translate into meaningful action and measurable outcomes. Honorable Speaker, the representative nature of Parliament uniquely places on us a responsibility to ensure that our legislative policy and institutional frameworks upon the rights, dignity, and full participation of persons with disabilities in governance and public affairs. I therefore urge that we continue strengthening inclusive practices and promoting equal opportunities for all citizens to contribute to national development regardless of disability status. Finally, as the chairperson of Kenya Disability Parliamentary Association and the CBWD Africa Region Champion, I urge Parliament and all relevant stakeholders to continue championing disability inclusive policies and legislation. Together, we can build institutions that are fully accessible, representative, and responsive to the needs and aspirations of persons with disabilities. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Member for Westlands. Honorable members in the Speaker's Gallery, allow me to acknowledge Starehe Primary School from Laikipia West, Laikipia. In the public gallery, we have Nyabondo Boys Boarding Comprehensive School from Nyakach, Kisumu, and Ayebo Boys High School from Baringo North, Baringo. Honorable members, on my behalf and on behalf of the House, we welcome the students, their teachers, and those accompanying them to Parliament. Maklap.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to join you, Mr. Speaker, to congratulate all the students from all parts of Kenya that have visited us today in this National Assembly, Mr. Speaker, and more particularly to Ayebo Boys High School from Baringo North, popularly known as at home Bongo Boys. Mr. Speaker, Bongo Boys did very well in the last year's examination, where they had 71 out of 84 students directly join the university. I want to encourage all the students that this is the House of Parliament, this is where laws are made, policies are done, and Mr. Speaker, the sky is the limit. Maintain discipline throughout their studies. Ensure that they work hard in school so that one day they will find themselves here. It is hard work and discipline that will bring them here and other places all over the world. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Next, order.
Order number 8.
Hold on. Sioi, what is it? Lillian Sioi, give her the mic. are very far away from where Lilian Sioi is. You don't know Lilian Sioi? There you are, there, next.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Last time, before we went for recess, I raised a question on shortage of fertilizer in Trans Nzoia. But so far, I haven't received any response. They were to do it the first week after recess, but I haven't received any communication. Mr. Speaker, the President subsidized the prices of fertilizer with reasons for the Kenyans to benefit, for Kenyans to produce enough food, and for Kenyans to get food at a cheaper price. But to our surprise, our fertilizer is being sold in Uganda, in our neighboring country, of which now it's like we subsidize the prices for them and not us. So I raised to still request for that response so that I can be able to know what happened.
Thank you, Mutunga. This was to you.
Yes, Honourable Speaker, thank you very much.
Where is the response?
Honourable Speaker, we discussed this issue at the meeting with the ministry, and they were to give us a written report on the same when they brought their submissions for the budget. We have not received that as yet.
The planting
I've spoken to the PS, and he has
rapidly,
promised that he's going to be there tomorrow.
The planting season is rapidly slipping away. You say tomorrow?
Tomorrow, yes.
Yes, tomorrow afternoon we'll allow you to do so. Next order.
Order number 8, the Kenya Judiciary Academy Bill, National Assembly Bill number 42 of 2025, second reading, resumption of debate.
Who was on the floor? Honorable Stephen Mogaka is not in the house. Ndindi Nyoro, are you queuing for this? Wilberforce Oundo, are you queuing for this? Gideon Gitonga Murugara, you are queuing for this? Go ahead.
Thank you very much.
I thought you are the one who moved the bill.
And unfortunately, I was out of the country.
Oh, okay.
It was moved by leader and seconded by another member of JLAC. It's good I speak in support of the bill.
Go ahead.
Because, Honorable Speaker, the Committee on Justice and Legal Affairs sat and looked at this bill just before debate and tabled a detailed report on why the bill should be supported, again proposing a raft of amendments to try and ensure that it is in compliance with the Constitution, because some members felt that this bill, in some respect, may actually be offending Article 172(1)(d) of the Constitution. This is purely because the mandate to manage functions and powers of the judiciary are vested in the JSC, and therefore this academy may be actually getting powers which it should not be having. The correct position is that we are now establishing the Kenya Judiciary Academy that is going to be in charge of training, management, and other functions relating to judicial staff and judicial members. Concern is raised on clause 4, whereby it establishes the academy as a body corporate, and the argument here is that as a body corporate, it may be separate and distinctive from the judiciary, and therefore it may be having powers which are not constitutionally conferred. The correct position is that we are establishing an agency of the Judicial Service Commission, so that some of the functions which are performed by the Judicial Service Commission can be delegated to this entity, and therefore this entity is going to be an agent of JSC. If it is an agent, then its powers are within the mandate of the delegation. It cannot perform any other functions apart from those that are conferred by this statute, and those functions must be under Article 172(1) of the Constitution. Therefore, we will be making or proposing an amendment so that everything that this academy does is in line with the Constitution, the functions of the JSC, and any other mandate this House, within the powers granted to it by the Constitution, can give to the Academy. The Academy is similar to institutions, including our Center for Parliamentary Studies, including the government school, which is under PSC, and especially the School of Government is also a body corporate, and it's able to discharge the statutory mandate given to it under the constitutional provisions. If there are any other areas that we need to look at, we have our report, and every member is requested to study the same so that we do not argue that we are forming a body that may be ultra vires the Constitution, while in essence, we have actually proposed to align this body, a corporate body, with the functions of the JSC and also with what the Constitution provides. With those remarks, I urge the House to pass this bill and also deal with the amendments when they come to the House during the third reading of the bill. Honorable Speaker, I beg to support.
Yes, those who are interested in debating this, please press the intervention button. Okay, Honorable Beatrice Elachi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise to support, but to put in a few of the queries, because when you read the bill, while I appreciate, Madam Speaker, that the bill indeed is to improve and strengthen the independence of the judiciary, but at the same time, Madam Speaker, we need to be very careful so that we don't risk into getting into bureaucracy, and especially when you have a board, Madam Speaker, a board that definitely will work, will have an operational cost, if not managed efficiently, Madam Speaker. And also, we should be very careful. I know the chair has told us there's no duplication of functions. The biggest challenge we always face, Madam Speaker, is when Kenyans are given a job, they forget that, and when they get into office and now take power, they definitely will just go beyond the lines that they've been given. And so it is something that when we are saying it's under the Judicial Service Commission, and therefore we need to ask ourselves whether the Judicial Service Commission, the same way we have Parliamentary Service Commission, Madam Speaker, and we have our CPST. I think that is the best way this academy should be run, so that it is completely under the Judicial Service Commission. And so the issues of governance will still arise, Madam Speaker, if we are not careful in, and I'm hoping when we look at the amendments, we shall see how the amendments now will realign the bill under the Judicial Service Commission. And so that also we don't create another entity that now comes in and then you'll find yourself looking for resources to manage it, and yet we are using the same public resources. Madam Speaker, it's a good idea, because at the same time, I'm hoping it will take care of, while you look at the academics and all that, and the capacity building of the judges, I think the most important thing is how do you ensure also that most of the challenges we face in court is when you find a judge who will find himself not really understanding policy that we use. There's sometimes when we do our public policies within our quarters of work, especially as politicians, you find that sometimes, not because the judge will want, but because he will not understand why the current affairs in X constituencies like this, and why this is a matter that is of public interest, I think that will now help us so that we don't go back
in the challenges we always face of public interest vis-a-vis the law and how you balance that. So, Madam Speaker, in this, when you look at 9, they tell you that there will be a chairperson and members of the board shall be paid such allowances as may be determined by the commission in consultation with the salaries. See, the moment you go to that, then now you have moved out of what we are saying, run the institution the way we run CPST. We have our members coming from Parliament, they go to CPST. We have our professor there, but he's under CPST, and they sit in the Parliamentary Service Commission. And so I am hoping some of those who sit on the Judicial Service Commission will be able to sit in this committee so that you don't do a lot of duplication, and that in the same time, they are able to manage and to ensure that within the regulations that have been passed, it will work. You have a Director General who will be responsible of the strategic direction and leadership of the Academy. Then you have the Director General who may perform such other duties as may be assigned by the board. So the moment you have that, it means you have 2 separate boards, Madam Speaker. And I can tell you there will be conflict between the Judicial Service Commission and this board if we did not realign it properly. And then lastly, when you look at the financial provisions, which is in part 3, that the funds of the Academy shall comprise of monies allocated to the Judicial Service Commission for purposes of the Academy and approved by the National Assembly. And this is where I was saying, Madam Speaker, if you are not careful, now you have to ensure the Judicial Service Commission runs the judiciary, but this one becomes a semi-autonomy where again we are allocating resources for them. And so those are some of the things we need to look at, even as we agree with the bill, Madam Speaker. So with those few remarks, I beg your support, but I'm hoping we shall have very serious amendments in realigning so that this Academy is specifically just run by the Judicial Service Commission. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Yeah, thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I also join my colleagues in supporting this important bill, Honorable Speaker. And just as we have School of Government, we have Parliamentary Training Institution, I think it's important that we also have the Judicial Service Academy. I see a number of benefits from this academy, Honorable Speaker, despite what my colleagues are saying in terms of areas where we could improve. But among the benefits I'd like to realize, Honorable Speaker, the first one is coming up with a training curriculum which is standardized, so that most of the judicial officers are taken through a common training, which will ensure that then quality, in terms of quality, it is improved, Honorable Speaker. The other important bit, Honorable Speaker, is that through this academy, we could have tailor-made college training opportunities which are really localized and which are applicable to our environment, so that at the end of the day, Honorable Speaker, we don't have to keep on sending our judicial officers out of country to train, Honorable Speaker. When you have a local academy, you can easily train our people locally, so that we only send them out there for very specialized training opportunities, Honorable Speaker, and that will save this country the money we are spending on external travel, Honorable Speaker. At the same time, Honorable Speaker, this could also be an opportunity to generate income for the Judicial Service Commission, Honorable Speaker, because we could make this academy also a regional academy where we have other neighboring countries sending their judicial officers to this country for training. And on that note, Honorable Speaker, just as we are making a lot of money as Parliament from the training, from regional training, this academy could also actually generate their own income, what we call A&A, through training our neighboring countries, and more so the judicial officers, Honorable Speaker. Last but not least, Honorable Speaker, this academy will also create opportunities for employment for our lecturers and people who are in this area, Honorable Speaker, so that we have many more Kenyans joining this academy to train. And these are opportunities which are not very common, Honorable Speaker. And I'm sure most of our lecturers who are out there, who are trained in this area, could easily, Honorable Speaker, then take advantage of those opportunities and make money, Honorable Speaker. So, Honorable Speaker, we have heard what Honorable Rigathi is saying in terms of the board. I do believe that the board, the composition of the board, Honorable Speaker, will draw from even the Judicial Service Commission. And we might only have very few board members who will be drawing allowances because the others will be drawing from the main commission, Honorable Speaker. But also, and Honorable Speaker, it's also important to have our members also join these boards so that they also provide strategic thinking and leadership to these boards, Honorable Speaker. So with those many remarks, Honorable Speaker, I do support this bill and wish that it will be fast-tracked to make sure that this academy becomes operational. I support Honorable Speaker.
The Honorable Member for Seme.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. Madam Speaker, I start by saying I support this bill because I think it is of great importance to our society. Madam Speaker, justice, peace, and harmony is what keeps the human society running. And that's what distinguishes us from animals. And that justice, peace, and harmony is dependent on actually the judicial services, police services, public prosecution, criminal investigation systems. But of all this, Madam Speaker, when all that has been put together, the judges and the judicial officers actually bear the greatest responsibility of that, how that comes out when it is being processed in the system. And the legal professions which they belong, like all other professions, are based on proper, appropriate, and full knowledge of, in this case, the practice of law. And we are aware, Madam Speaker, that both knowledge and practice changes as the society changes. It is therefore important that professionals in this area continue to keep abreast with the changes that occur. And Article 172(1)(d) of our Constitution actually recognizes this and provides for continuous legal education and training of judges and judicial officers. This bill exactly does that. I think that's what this bill is designed for. And it does that by establishing the academy itself. It also provides structures for running that academy. As our members have indicated, there may be instances where certain structures may conflict with the other, but I think that we can look, when we come to the committee of the whole house, we can make amendments so that we remove such contradictions. The bill also provides for the funding of the academy in clause 13. And I note that he provides that funds will be made available through the National Assembly, through the Judicial Fund, through levies and fees. And on levies and fees, Madam Speaker, I will say that the academy should make maximum effort to actually focus on improving skills and knowledge of the judicial officers and the judges, instead of actually trying to raise funds. This normally becomes a weakness of institutions. When they focus on raising funds, then they start to lose what is their main mandate, which in this case is to maintain the skills and the knowledge of these officers. And therefore, we really, as a parliament, in my view, we should actually strive to keep this institution well-funded so that they focus on what they really need to do to sharpen the skills and knowledge of these officers. This bill also in clause 5 provides for continuing research. This is extremely important. In all areas, as the society changes, there is need for research to see what changes are taking place in the society norms, in international relations, and even in technology. You know, technology will be used in provision of legal services in the judicial system, but also technology will be used in crime, in criminology. And quite often, if the officers are not actually abreast with what is happening, then really they will not provide the services that are required. Therefore, in my view, Madam Speaker, I think this is a well-intended bill. In broad terms, it has actually covered all the areas that it needs to cover, and therefore I support this bill. Thank you.
Honorable members, allow me to recognize the following schools: Chebunyo Christian School, Chebalungu Constituency, Bomet County, and Imenti Junior School from Laikipia East Constituency, Laikipia County, who are seated in the public gallery. We also have Kasue Girls Secondary School, Kibwezi East Constituency, Makueni County. Honorable members, I also wish to introduce to you a delegation of 26 officers drawn from the various national and county government institutions who are seated in the Speaker's Gallery. The delegation is undertaking a training on protocol, etiquette, and events management in the legislature at the Center of Parliamentary Studies and Training, CPST. On my own behalf and that of the National Assembly, I welcome you to Parliament and wish them fruitful deliberations. Thank you. Member for Chebalungu, you wanted to welcome the students on our behalf? Give him the mic.
Yeah, thank you so much, Madam Speaker. I appreciate the opportunity to welcome the students who have come to visit Parliament today. And in particular, Honorable Speaker, allow me to welcome Christian Academy that is in Chepalungu constituency. It is a school in Chepalungu constituency that offers education, Honorable Speaker. And I'm privileged today to stand here in this floor to welcome them so that they can appreciate what we normally come to do. And at least, Honorable Speaker, to encourage them that when they work hard, one day, one time, they will be able to as well be here to represent their people in various capacities. Parliament is not just for members of Parliament, it has other career opportunities. Honorable Speaker, allow me to welcome all those that have come here today so that they can witness how Parliament transacts its business. Thank you so much, Honorable Speaker.
The Honorable Mishi Mboko, member for Likoni.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I also stand to support this bill, the Kenya Judicial Academy Bill 2025. Madam Speaker, this bill tends to operationalize Article 172(1)(d) of the Constitution. Madam Speaker, as we know, the Judicial Service Commission has a mandate to ensure continuous education and training of the judges, magistrates, and judicial staffs. Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, as we have seen in the Clause 3, which established the Kenya Judicial Academy as a regional center of excellence in judicial training. Madam Speaker, as we know, our judges, the magistrates, deal with complex issues. They deal with a lot of cases. And most of the cases, they need to get capacity building rather like having continuous education to get more expertise, to get more experiences, and also to learn more on the emerging issues in terms of justice, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, you need to understand even right now, we have because of the new technology, we have issues like the digital evidence, we have the issues to do with cybercrime, the issue of artificial intelligence, and most of the time our judges, our magistrates, they only do workshops and seminars, and it is occasional, Madam Speaker. Having this platform, it means it's like they're having a home, or rather their own institution, whereby they can have capacity building and they can have continuous education in terms of their mandate, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, when you talk about research and formulating of policies, as members of Parliament, each and every time we keep on formulating some policies, we keep on legislation, some new laws, we do some amendments. So it is also high time that our judges need to get some updates on the new laws which we have legislated, those which we have done some amendment, the policies, the regulation, and so on and so forth, Madam Speaker. So our judges need a platform, and our magistrates, so that they can be updated on all this legislation, Honorable Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, also, this platform will not only serve for the judiciary only, but it will also serve other legal professions, which may be also interested in getting this update in terms of the expertise, in terms of experiences, because you'll get some new reports, some new publication, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, also, this academy will partner with other relevant institutions. Like here in our parliament, we have what we call CPST, Center for Parliamentary Studies and Training. They can partner with them. They can also partner the Kenya School of Government. They can also partner. So it means there'll be cross-border training, and there'll be exchange of trainings, program experiences, and so many other issues in terms of academy, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, also I want to say that having this academy, it will also prove that we have the independence of the judiciary, Honorable Speaker. Madam Speaker, by creating a dedicated institution for judicial training and research, it means we are strengthening our institution, we are strengthening the capacity of our judges, of our magistrates, and even the judicial staffs, Honorable Speaker. So, Madam Speaker, I just want to say that although maybe we are saying maybe we might have some challenges because there will be a board, but to me, when I just look on this bill, I'm seeing, according to clause 6, it will establish board of directors, and that board of directors, it has some representation from the judiciary, from legal profession, from universities and regulatory institutions. So it means it will be well represented, and having all these actors, I don't think whether we can have any kind of challenges, because it means that we have involved the key stakeholders, Honorable Speaker. Madam Speaker, also clause 13, if I quote 13, 14, and 15, it provides academies funding. And it's funding financial year and annual estimate. This provision means we'll have transparency, accountability, and prudent management of public resources. So it means there'll be proper management of this academy. And I also want to echo the budget committee, because we did allocation to the judiciary, good money to judiciary. And I hope part of that money also can even be channeled to this academy, so that it can strengthen the mandate to ensure that our judges, our magistrates can have continuous education, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I want to say, if you have a competent, ethical, and continuous trained judiciary, it means Kenyans are going to get justice. It means justice will come according to the time frame which has been talked about, because most of the time we are seeing that some cases, they take long time, and maybe there are some challenges. But if you have such platform, even those kind of challenges, they'll have a forum where they can discuss and get a way forward, so that Kenyans will not keep on crying and complaining that their cases have been there for many, many years without completion, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I just want to say this is a very good bill, Madam Speaker, because our judges need this induction. We have new judges, some maybe have just joined recently, and they need some induction, they need orientation, and they need professional trainings. So I think this is a good platform, And I urge my colleagues that we need to support this bill so that our judiciary is going to be very competent, ethical, and we'll have judges and magistrates who are well trained and they are being refreshed each and every time. They get capacity building. They don't wait for seminars. They don't wait for occasional workshops. They can just do that. Again, we'll have opportunity. The lecturers who are going to be training them, they'll be there. We'll have also opportunity. Other people are going to be employed in that academy. It is also a way of income generating because we'll not only train just within our country, maybe even across East African community. We'll do that. So, Honorable Speaker, I want to support this bill.
Member for Ariada.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I'm a member of the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee, and I'm happy to advise members that this bill was spearheaded by a team made up of members of the Judiciary and the Judicial Service Commission, led by the Honorable Supreme Court Judge, Dr. Smoky Wanjala. Madam Speaker, as a committee, we thoroughly examined this bill at various stages, and we robustly debated it no less than 3 times. And I'm happy to tell members that of some of the concerns that I've had some members raise, most of them are already catered for in the proposed amendments that the committee did, and you'll find that in Chapter 6 of the report of the committee. Madam Speaker, it is important to understand that this bill reflects a best practice regionally and internationally, where entities such as the Judiciary and the Judicial Service Commission now find it necessary to focus on continuous legal education.